fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Sec's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
This is the world's premier online racing simulation. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat from your home computer with the most realistic online motorsports experience you'll find anywhere. Race virtually in the world's biggest events with officially licensed series, cars, and tracks. From the high banks of Daytona to the blistering speeds of Indianapolis, the dirt of Eldora to the world's most legendary road courses. It's all here, and with more than 180,000 people just like you already driving, you'll always have someone to race. Ready to get behind the wheel? Sign up at iRacing.com to get started.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. 2 weeks have gone by since the endurance round at Virginia International Raceway. Now we go back to sprint racing and the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup presented by Sam Blacklock Media. We're at Silverstone Circuit for 2 races here tonight. 20 minutes or 10 laps, and then 35 minutes or 18 laps, whichever comes first. It's going to be an interesting one, and we're looking forward to seeing how these drivers tackle the flat, fast Grand Prix layout at the Silverstone Circuit in the UK. To bring it to you all live here on SimSpeed TV is myself, Reese Gardner, with Nick Scarriev alongside me in the commentary box. Well, Nick, I'm really looking forward to this because I've always been a big fan of Silverstone, especially in its current incarnation. It's a brilliant layout here at this circuit. It's been around for 70 years and ongoing now, Silverstone, but it is a modern venue in every sense of the word.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's always one of those. It's always one of those venues that looks after F1 all the way down to grassroots motorsport. So there really is no. I kind of say it almost every week. There is really no excuse for drivers not to really know this layout like the back of their hand. And of course, with those really famous corners such as Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel as well. Yeah, such a famous circuit, seen all over the world in all different forms of motorsport.
Yes, indeed. And that Maggots Beckett's section you talk about there up at the top of the screen is going to be one of the places where the drivers are going to be having some trouble tonight. It's very difficult to get your momentum right through that section. You got to turn in at exactly the right time, and they're incredibly fast corners. Should make things less than easy in these Porsche 911 992 GT3 Cup cars. 18 turns around this place, and every single one of them is important. Before we get into the action tonight, let's check out the championship standings in the pro class. It is Bo Albert still on top here with the win last time out at VIR, really putting him in contention here to take that driver's title. Job Stewart hasn't had a good last few rounds, though. He's been trailing behind slightly.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can see we did have Job Stewart there in the last round, so he was trying to clamber back a few more points there, but it really seems to be that the battle now for those 2 podium positions. Job Stewart to Sebastian Block there, separated by around 250 points, so it is still quite tight there in that midsection. And of course, Cameron Dance in 5th place, so not to rule him out either.
Certainly not. And Matthew Bowler's had a really good run the last few rounds as well. He could potentially overtake Job Stewart in the championship standings. Here's the Pro-Am Championship, and Tyson Broad leading from Simon Mazzomo. These guys have been battling very hard all season for that top spot in the AM class here. Only separated by 31 points, and they are quite a ways ahead of the rest of their field, with Joshua Van Treek there in 3rd place for Crispy Motorsports, another 143 points behind Simon Mazzomo. It'll be interesting to see what Dylan Shepherd can do meanwhile, a mid-season entry there in the Pro-Am class. He'll be rocketing up those standings if he keeps getting the results he does. And in the AM Championship, well, it's the same story as always. Nicholas Garriott way ahead of everyone else else. Javin Wood in second there, but he's in danger of getting usurped by Garriach's teammate Kyle Booth, who's had a very good last few rounds, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. So great kind of spread between a lot of these drivers here that we're seeing, even in the AM class. Always battles to look out for, and there's usually a lot on the line as well. We are having to look through our season 6 schedule. At the moment here, we are obviously at round 8. So he's definitely in for the long haul. It really comes down to having that consistency, and then tonight here, we're just having our regular sprint and feature round. Probably one of my personal favorites, possibly as well for you as well, Reese.
Yeah, I do like the racing that the sprint format provides. That second race is probably going to have a pit stop for fuel for the drivers. There's a 46.2 litre fuel tank restriction, and these cars have maximum 110 litres you can put in the tank usually, so less than half of the available fuel there. Drivers definitely pushing hard out of the corners. That's Rob Carmichael, who's currently P1 in the qualifying session. 2 minutes 2.1 is his time. When we get into that second race, the drivers will likely be having to take around 15 to 20 litres of fuel, which should translate to a pit stop time of about 6 to 7 seconds. Let's take a look then at what the drivers can do in terms of pace here as Ben Johnson begins another lap here. 7.27, having a dramatic race last time out at Virginia International Raceway. Javin Wood, meanwhile, making his way out of the arena section and down the Wellington Straight. This is one of the former runways at RAF Silverstone. This place was an airfield in the Second World War, repurposed for racing after the war ended. And this corner here, Luffield, is one of the ones that's very difficult to get right. Got to stick to the inside, try and delay getting on the throttle because you don't want to understeer off on exit. And Woodcote, which is that little bend he just went through there, it's a corner that the Formula One cars that race here at Silverstone don't even see most of the time. But in cars like this, it can definitely be a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd have to say, though, this track does have a bit of that mix of everything. You can kind of sit in behind there, but it really comes back. You just see so many of these corners have these really long, usually multiple apexes as well. So quite a technical circuit as well. You see coming down here, down the Hangar Straight, Javin Wood there to a car getting ready for their lap as well. So it's just coming down the back side of the circuit. I do believe that is Stoke Corner there, all the way through Vale, and then through the club complex here at the end. So it's always a bit of a Silverstone. I think I really cut my teeth on Toka Racing driver when I was a youngin', and that's where the old pit lane where they're going past at the moment. But obviously we do have the new pit lane there on the northern end of the track.
Indeed. Well, Mr. Wood currently with the AM class pole position. The makeup of qualifying in this series, if you are new to it, is as follows. It's split into 2 groups. The first group that goes out first is the AM drivers and half of the Pro-Am class, and then in the second half of this session, you will see the rest of the Pro-Am drivers out with the Pro Class drivers. What can Rob Carmichael do, meanwhile, to improve on provisional pole? He's 3/10 ahead of Zach Kerr, runs a little bit wide through the middle of Luffield, but that's not entirely bad. Luffield is such a long corner, and there's a nice long straight thereafter, means that some drivers will try to double apex it, but it looks like Carmichael has decided to abandon this lap and let Zach Kerr go by him. And, yes, there's Zach Kerr there. The driver that he let through first was, of course, Javin Wood, who's on another hot lap at the moment, trying to improve on his AM class pole. But Zach Kerr here in the Pursuit Sim Racing 4 car, number 73, keeping a nice easy line through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Got to get on the throttle as soon as you can, but not too soon. I saw a little whisper of oversteer there on the exit. He should be getting a nice slipstream here from Javin Wood, but it looks like Javin is pulling over to let him go. Not entirely the slipstream that Zach Kerr would have wanted. Remember, he is the one who has to make up that time to Rob Carmichael. So through Stowe and Vale again. This is a very difficult braking zone. It's one that you've got to absolutely nail. It's a potential overtaking opportunity as well. As he comes through the last couple of corners, then he'll be flat out through Club, which was tightened as a result of the layout changes that produced this current version of the circuit. 202.429. That is going to be an improvement for Zach Kerr, but it's not going to earn him provisional pole for now.
Yeah, absolutely. There's one thing I noticed as well in this iteration of the track. It does have those anti-cut curves as well, so one thing to be mindful of. I think that was in Virginia. Was either Virginia or Motorsport. We did have quite a lot of cars have issues with these Porsches, even though that they are based on a production car, super stiff in the suspension, so can get unsettled quite easily. You can just see there Kyle Booth runs it out super wide there as they come around really early on the gas there. For a 203 or 78 there, which did not count there, so might have been a bit of an off track there. It is very easy to do on this circuit. We do have Robert Grimsdale coming through. 30 seconds left for this group, so I think that might be done there. See how Grimsdale goes. He has about just over 30 seconds left for this lap.
Yes, well, we'll see if he can get across the line to start another lap after this one. Mr. Crisdale making his debut in this series, I believe. A driver that we usually see racing in the Southern Cross Esports Championship Series, which we're going to be broadcasting tomorrow night on SimSpeed TV. Usually driving in the Porsche 911 RSR, but in the GT3 Cup for this one, and that's a good lap from Crisdale. Puts himself up to P2 in the AM class, and have a look at that cap to Rob Carmichael. Barely anything in it, only 0.02 of a second.
Yeah, absolutely there. So Carmichael doing an excellent job there. So very experienced Rob Carmichael for Pursuit Sim Racing. So between that and does quite a lot of work there in the V8s as well. So very pleased there. Always a good boost of morale. So he's going to test out his pit stop coming in. Almost go pretty well straight as he hit hard on the brakes there. We've got Hayden Veld coming through, so I think this is going to be our next group in that awesome Synergy livery there, Chris.
Yes, well, let's see if Hayden Veld can improve on a 202.982. He managed to cross the line before the checkered flag came out, I think, so I think, yes, he will be able to finish this lap. He'll be hoping that it is an improvement. He's currently down in 6th place overall, and he's one of the 2 Pro-Am cars that splits Javin Wood from the rest of the Am classes. That's very deep into Maggots. That was a big slide there for Hayden Veld. He's probably going to be hoping that he can recover that and get a good exit onto the hangar straight, so named because there was an aircraft hangar on driver's left back in the wartime days. So down into Stowe Corner, a little bit of a dip, and you got to try and line up the entry to this corner properly. It's very fast, but it is a little slower than it looks. You've got to be careful on the exit as well, not to get an off track. Don't go beyond the black and white curbing. Nice couple of turns here for Hayden Veld should secure him an improvement in lap time. Let's see what he can do then. Foot to the floor, flat out through Club. Try and keep the rear end in check. And across the line, it's going to be a 2:02.7 there for Hayden Veld. Gains him a place. Benjamin Johnson demoted to 6th place overall. But I have to say, Javin Wood has really put a number on the rest of the AM class in that session. Championship leader Nicholas Garriott only in 2nd place in the AM class for the time being, and that is quite the gap, 3/10. And this series is usually very competitive, so that gap definitely means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, but that is a really good split that we're seeing, so we should expect to see some pretty close racing there. I think that is Isaac Edwards there in 10th position, so he'll be rounding out our M classes as well. Something a bit different as well there with the webcams that we have happening tonight. So there's some great organisational skills there in the background.
Indeed, our series organiser, well, one of them at AOG, Dan Yeaman, is up in the top right. We've got Sebastian Flock top left. Top middle is championship leader Bo Albert. We've also got Nathan Anderson there with a very nice ride, thinking it's an 80s Falcon there in the background in his garage there. Definitely eye-catching. Simon Mazzomo and Sam Blacklock alongside him on the middle row. And then we have Tyson Broad and Cameron Dance on the bottom row there. So Cam is going to be one of the drivers that's really hoping for a bit of an improvement here in this round. He definitely has the pace to work with the top 5. Hasn't quite come together for him over the last couple of rounds though. We'll be waiting now for the green flag for Group 2 when there's I believe 13 minutes remaining in the session, or 14 minutes rather. Here we go, green flag Group 2. There we go. 14 minutes of qualifying here with a little bit extra potentially for them to find out there on the circuit. And look at them all coming out all in a row. Bo Albert right in the back of the pack here. He'll be getting some good slipstreams, but will he want a clear track ahead of him? Will he start working his way forward here on the outlap? There's his teammate, Sam Blacklock. Will be trying his best to lead that charge.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a bit of an Altus sandwich there, but you can see those two. Oh, you have to say that's such a flex there with the almost looks like a Group C Falcon there in the background. So yeah, it's going to be super cool. I don't think I've seen a sim room as cool as that. That's for sure.
Yes, well, Nathan Anderson's focus is certainly going to be on his triple screens, and with Sam Blacklock up ahead of him. Blacklock, very fast driver, brought home a 1-2 finish with Bo Albert last round at Virginia, so I think Anderson will be in good hands there, getting the slipstream off the Altus number 215. Getting a bit close though in the Beckett's S's here on the outlap. You're going to have to get some space between them here for the time that they start their hot laps.
Yeah, absolutely, and his cold tyres as well, so you can just see quite a few of them there weaving out there, trying to get that temperature in where they can. Have that car number 12 there right at the front. Matt Bauer, seen some really good pace from him through some of the previous rounds. Has not a bit of the same way of Cameron Dance there, just not having that luck on his side, but definitely where he is here at the front though, so can't have too much go wrong unless obviously coming off the circuit. You just see that steering correction already on these cold tyres. Oh, even again a little bit of opposite lock coming out there, so really this first lap out really giving it 10 tenths.
Yes, I erroneously identified Matt Bowler as Tyson Broad just before. I apologise for that. Let's see what Mr. Bowler can do here. Getting onto the podium last round at BIR and getting a couple of podiums here in the early to mid-season in the AOG Porsche Cup. He has a clear track ahead of him, so he's going to be the first one to set a time out here. Got to say that he is working that car very hard. I'm looking at the weather settings and the track is only 20 degrees Celsius, so that explains why they're working the wheels so hard. These cars have tyres that take a while to come up to temperature as it is, so put them on a cold track and you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm not expecting to see too many tyre swaps here for being this race format that we're in now, so it really kind of comes down to conserving those tyres. You'd have to say though, for a feature race of 35 minutes, we're probably not going to see too much in that degradation there, Reese.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's a very smooth track here at Silverstone, and tyres should last quite some time. We'll see if the drivers end up going for runs of 2 or 3 hot laps in a row. There's potential for it, certainly. But Matt Bowler coming up to the end of his lap now. He's followed by Evolution Racing Team's Damon Woods there at the front of this pack. And out of the final corner he will come. Let's see what the pace setting is here, with Matt Bowler now coming across the line. 2 minutes and 1.7 is going to be the pace set there. Excellent stuff from Matt Bowler. Immediately pipped by Damon Woods, though. Takes a 10th out of him, and the times are going to come across now. Sam Blacklock goes to P12. That wasn't a very good first lap for Blacklock. Muir gets into 13th. Shepherd and Flock into 15th and 16th overall. Bo Albert goes to provisional pole. Takes 5/10 out of Damon Woods' time.
Yeah, absolutely. So not too surprising there, but then again, just so strong. We did see like a fair puff of smoke though out in front, so not too sure what had happened there though. We've just seen Tyson Hanman come through, just trying to find his feet a little bit. I'm sure he'll have a fair improvement on that though. Great work by Damon Woods from Evolution in that second spot there at the moment. It does have Bowler though, only about a 10th and a half behind him, so we'll just see, as you're exactly right as what you were saying before, we are expecting these times to consistently improve though. We'd have to say though, Woods almost had all four wheels off that white line, so potentially this might be an invalid lap there, Reese.
Well, I will say that Silverstone has the 4-tyre off-track detection system, so it's the edge of the curbs that defines the limit of the track in most of the corners here. I do think that Woods will be okay, personally. As long as he doesn't get all 4 tyres beyond the curbs on the exit of these corners, he should be fine, but goodness gracious, that is a very big slide that he just got there out of Maggots and Beckett's. Looks like Matthew Bowler has backed off there, but it's a personal best in every sector for Damon Woods on this lap so far, or so we are hearing, so he'll commit to the end of this lap. Oh, that was very close to an off-track out of Stowe. You can't go beyond the black and white curbing there, and I think that'll that may be an off-track. We'll have to wait and see. As he comes across the line, he'll be hoping that it still counts. Across the line he comes. 2:01.3 is the time, and it looks like it didn't count. So that was an off-track he got on the exit of Stowe. But Sam Blacklock, going to provisional pole position, takes 2 hundredths out of Bo Albert's time. It is an Altus 1-2 at the front of the grid in qualifying so far, and Blacklock is satisfied with that. He's going to go back to the pits.
Yeah, absolutely. So Blacklock there with the upper hand there. We've got Ryan Jones coming through here at the moment. Has not really got a clean lap down so far, but 2:02.6 not recognised there. Oh, actually, sorry, it is recognised there. He's about a second and a half though from the front, so that has put him in that 14th position there so far. I did want to ask you, Reese, quickly about the fuel. We do have a tank restriction there of 46.2 laps. So it will come down to taking on some fuel in that feature race.
Yeah, it will, and as I said before, the drivers should take 15 to 20 litres at the stop, which should result in about a 6 or 7 second pit stop, 6 or 7 second pit stop, I should say. But when they take it is entirely up to them. You wouldn't want to pit before you've burned off about 15 litres. So we should expect potentially pit stops to start happening round about, I'd say, the lap 5, lap 6 mark. But most drivers will probably split the race evenly in 2. Let's see what Bo Albert can do out of Luffield. Have a look at how much he pushes the car on the exit there. That's within limits, and you can also cut the inside of Woodcote completely. There's no penalty for going onto the tarmac there. Let's see how he does through Copse, the original turn 1 of this racetrack. Yep, that seems nice and tidy there for Bo. Well, we'll see. All he needs to do is gain 2 hundredths of a second, and he's got pole position back from his teammate. But either way, Altus will be very happy with both of their cars in the top 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So great to see Blacklock there. We almost thought what could have been. He had a really strong run of pace in the second half of our last round. So yeah, just did not unfortunately didn't eventuate, but yeah, tonight definitely might be his night there. The Porsches and Silverstone are pretty common grouped together, so should have plenty of experience around this track here. We're just seeing Bo Albert. He's going to be coming around for the line now, so 201.094 to beat there, and 201.150. So still not fast enough. About the same again, behind about that half, or actually less than half a tenth, about 0.03 of a second off. So not working his way up the that order anymore.
Let's see what Robbie Gibbs can do then for Drop Bear and Cosi in car 888. Gibbs is at the moment in 8th place. What he needs to do is gain a 10th and he'll get a position on Cameron Dance. So time to beat for him is going to be a 2:01.9 and it's going to be a 2:01.6 for him. That is 3 positions gained up into P5 for Mr. Gibbs.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, great work there by Robbie Gibbs. We do see Drop Bear usually in the mix somewhere along or the other there. So we've got Joshua Van Treek there, one of the Christopher Motorsports team there, but Josh doing a great job, very consistent, making always one to make the start line, and usually he's always making the time there, or a little bit of a slide coming out of there, so might wipe a bit of time off. You can still see how well spaced they are. About 3.5 minutes left on the clock there.
Yeah, well, the 3-minute warning was given about 2 minutes ago. So when there's about 2 minutes left in the session, that's when the checkered flag is officially going to fly. Because since we're using the heat format for rounds like this, there's a hard cut to the end of qualifying. Once the clock runs out, that is the end of the session. You'll just be forced straight into the race. So the drivers will need to start their final laps before the about the 2 minute and 5 second mark, I would say. Mr. Van Treek then coming out of the final corner. Can he beat Rob Carmichael's time? 2:02.945. Unfortunately, not quite where he needs to be. That is a position gained. He puts Nicholas Garriott down to 21st overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Still looking pretty strong though for Nicholas Garriott. So still being able to lead there. So there's really no split on that AM class. They're all going to be starting together there. So it'd be great to see that battling all between those cars there. We've got Damon Wood there in our pro class there in 5th place at the moment. That's doing pretty well. It is actually looking like it's quite separated between the classes, so there's not really anyone that's mixed in. I think the
sole exception would be Javin Wood, because he's got the AM class pole. He's currently in 17th. He has got 3 cars separating himself from Nicholas Garriott in 2nd place in the AM class, and that's definitely an off track for Damon Woods. That is the second time that has happened for Damon in this session. It looks like he's abandoned that. That's the end of his session. He's going to have to settle for at least 6th place. Matthew Bowler, though, now trying his best as the checkered flag has flown to improve on this time, getting onto the hangar straight, not quite taking all of the road on the exit, but some would say that if you stick to the left on the exit of Chapel, it's a slightly shorter run in terms of distance down the hangar straight. So let's see what he can do then. 1 minute 17 left on the clock. Don't forget about the hard cut. Hard on the brakes into Vale. Couple of small bumps in that braking zone that can really unsettle you, and the track meanders a little, so it's hard to get the line right on entry. And Mr. Bowler will come across the line sideways, 2:01.6 for him, and that is not going to be an improvement. He will remain in 4th. And it looks like that's the majority of our drivers done. Can Tyson Broad set a time? 2:02.1. Doesn't look like that counted there. Oh, yeah, it did. Tyson Broad remains in 11th, though. Didn't quite gain as much as he would have wanted. But crucially, he is ahead of his championship rival, Simon Mazzomo, in the AM class. So once again, they're going to be together on track, and they're going to continue their season-long battle. Everyone's pulled into the pits now. They'll hopefully not overshoot their pit box when it comes to race 2. Good to get some practice in at the end of the session. Here's the grid then for race 1. Sam Blacklock and Bo Albert, an Altus front row lockout. Cameron Dance and Matthew Bowler in 3rd and 4th, with Robbie Gibbs and Damon Woods rounding out the top 6. It's Nathan Anderson who starts out of 7th place alongside Sebastian Flock, and then Rob Carmichael takes the Pro-Am pole position, a 200th ahead of Robert Crisdale. Tyson Broad and Simon Mazzomo in 3rd and 4th in the AM class, rounding out the top 12 overall.
Yeah, great work there by Simon Mazzomo there. Dylan Shepherd, Zach Kerr, Sam Murr, Ryan Jones there. We did see a little bit earlier on there. He's on row 8. Javon Wood there. Going to have a bit of a gap there to some of his AM compatriots. Hayden Veld there next to him on row 9.
Benjamin Johnson is going to round out the top 20 with Joshua Van Treek. Nicholas Garriott and Kyle Booth, 2nd and 3rd. The teammates in the AM class were Zach Mitchell and Isaac Edwards, 23rd and 24th overall. Tyson Hanmer is going to round out our 25-car grid with Dan Yeaman and Tom Wilkinson in their McLaren 570S GT4s. They will be serving as the safety car if there is a big enough incident out on track. But with a lot of space here at Silverstone Circuit, there's plenty of nice vast runoff areas for the drivers to move into, and as long as they're near a marshal's post, they might be able to escape back to the pits without triggering a safety car. A reminder that if you do spin off in this series and you have to tow, you need to ask permission from race control first, so the drivers will have to keep a very close eye out on that. 35 seconds left until the clock runs out, and Bo Albert's already on the grid. We are just waiting for our pole sitter, Sam Blacklock, who has had a great turn of form. There he is. Finally, his first pole position of the season in the AOG Porsche Cup. This is going to be interesting coming into turn 1. It's a very fast sequence of opening turns here at Silverstone through Abbey and Farm, and then the heavy braking zone coming into the arena section. A double hairpin, which could certainly cause some dramas. Just a few seconds left now, and we'll be able to get off to a standing start here for our 10-lap race 1 here at Silverstone Circuit. The revs rise. AOG Porsche Cup, round 8 is go. And it looks like a pretty good start there from Bo Albert, already past his teammate on the way into turn 1. Blacklock bogged down a little bit. Meanwhile, they're 3 wide behind. Robert Gibbs gets pipped by Nathan Anderson, a little bit of a hit there, and Cameron Dance is off as well, manages to recover it with the 360. Good stuff, but I think there might be a couple of penalties already coming out from that. Slight taps throughout the field. It is still the Altus 1-2 though. Albert is the one who's leading. There's a spin at the back. That's a big shame there. It looks like Ryan Jones is the one who's come off the worst from that. Sam Blacklock though, he's already starting to put the attack back on Bo Albert, and Damon Woods is facing a lot of pressure here from Matthew Bowler, who wants to get that 3rd place. Oh, goodness gracious, Bowler. He got a bit crossed up there through Brooklands. He's going to have to... Oh, they might come together, him and Nathan Anderson. Have a look at Sebastian Flock here. He wants to try and take advantage of this. Very chaotic opening start to the lap. It looks like Ryan Jones has retired as a result of that spin on lap 1. But Sebastian Flock has got a great view here as they come into Copse. Bowler defends from Anderson. Anderson's going to try the switchback here. What does Sebastian Flock do? Can he get alongside here? Coming into the Beckett's S's. Meanwhile, there's a bit of an incident at the back of the pack. It looks like Nicholas Garriott and Benjamin Johnson might have come together.
Yeah, geez, how much chaos can be had on one lap? We normally think that Silverstone would be all pretty well straightforward, but I think a lot of the cars, they're just getting a bit caught out there. With that cold tyre, we've just seen another Porsche.
Oh, Wood! That was our AM pole sitter.
Yeah, seems to be a battle of attrition here on this first lap here, Reese.
Yeah, goodness gracious. Oh, the side-by-side continues. Rob Crisdale having to yield to Zach Kerr there after going a bit too deep into Stowe, but he's going to try and get it back here. Passing the number 53 and actually defending there from Hayden Veld. Hasn't been the best of first laps here for Crisdale, but lap 1 is complete. It is Bo Albert who leads the way from Sam Blacklock and Damon Woods, and the battling still goes on here back in the pack. This is fantastic racing we're seeing. Shepherd and Mazzomo very close together. Mazzomo now is going to try his best to gain a little more as Ben Johnson pits with big damage there. You don't want to visit the pits if you can help it in a race as short as this. Meanwhile, Cameron Dance all the way down to P14. Meanwhile, have a look at the fighting that's going on here. Goodness gracious. Side by side between Bowler and Flock. And, well, let's see if Flock gets it done into Brooklands. He does indeed. So Matthew Bowler's not quite been able to get the tyres switched on.
Yeah, absolutely. You just saw running it all the way through the grass there on that straight section. So did not lose too much pace there as well. You'd have to say a bit of a recovery there from Cameron Dance. So we did see him do quite the pirouette there on the infield on that, I think, second corner. So he's on a bit of a recovery mission. He should be able to pick off each driver. It'd be interesting to see him as he carves his way through the pack. Seeing these two at the front, though, Bo Albert with around about a second gap there to Blacklock, or maybe, sorry, slightly less, about half a second, maybe 7/10 or so, and you can see these two are just starting to push away at the moment there. Anderson and Flock to Bowler and to Carmichael there. Carmichael doing really well there in 7th place.
And he's right in the middle of this pack behind Nathan Anderson. This is the battle for 5th, and it's about 7 cars long. Matthew Bowler fancied a look at his teammate Sebastian Flock coming into Stowe, but not going to happen there. Meanwhile, Shepherd and Mazzomo still very close together here. Cameron Dance is trying to keep Mazzomo behind. Sorry, that's Sam Muir that's battling with Dylan Shepherd there in car 98. Not a successful move there. Cameron Dance is going to try to get away from all of this, consolidate his own positions. Remember that Dance qualified in 3rd, so this is not a good start to his night.
Yeah, absolutely. That bad luck continues. What we did see at Virginia as well, so he had a lot of bad luck there as well.
Makes the move.
Yeah, great overtaking move there. Pulled that Porsche right up on the dime there as well. I think that is Mazzomo coming around there. Tyson Broadside, Mazzomo definitely not in the worst position here. We did see at the start line, we might, if we could maybe even cut to a replay of that, absolutely messed up the start there, getting the Porsche off the line, and we did see quite a few Porsches there trying to take evasive action around him, but he's actually recovered a little bit, taken a few positions back since then.
That he has. He's motoring his way through the field, and he's going to try and follow Dylan Shepherd along, but Mr. Mazzomo there still keeping himself in with a chance here. Crucially, he is ahead of Tyson Broad, so that'll be good for his championship battle. Here's the start, as you saw Blacklock bogging down, but we'll keep an eye on what happened to Cameron Dance here. Oh, was it contact? It was indeed, and it was with Matthew Bowler. So not much space there in turn 1, and we also saw one of the drop bearing Cosi cars go off as well. Meanwhile, here's what happened to Ryan Jones. Oh, that was a big mounting of the curb there by one of the Century Batteries cars, and I think Jones will feel very hard done by that. That's very unfortunate. Matthew Bowler, though, has made the move back on Sebastian Flock. Obviously no team orders at Pursuit Sim Racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'd have to say there, team orders between Pursuit or team orders between Altus Esports. So we'll see if it's going to be a fight to the end. We did, as we were chatting with Sam Blacklock a couple of weeks back, he said he was going to try and take it all the way to the line. So potentially we could see that happen this time around. There's about 0.4 of a second separating those two at the front. But you just see how tight it is here through this midfield as well.
Oh, hello. That's a late move. Goodness me. Or was that early on the brakes for Hayden Veld? Goodness, Dylan Shepherd finding himself side by side with the number 53. That was interesting and could have almost ended in disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. So kept it pretty clean there as well. You can just see on board here with Dance at the moment. Oh, you could... Yeah, it's kind of Silverstone really lends itself to taking very different angles and very different lines here, being such a wide circuit. There you see Cameron Dance there feeding in that steering, feeding in the power as it comes through. Yeah, actually sitting a bit wide there compared to some of the cars there in front.
Well, all in a line, and it's not going to change much for the next couple of corners. Of course, we can't forget that it is a reverse top 10, and Hayden Veld is currently in 10th place. So that's why Dylan Shepherd is making those moves. They come together. It's a synchronized spin. Cameron Dance threads the needle through it, but that is big there. That is probably not going to be looked upon too kindly by race control. It looked like a bit of an aggressive move there by Dylan Shepherd coming out of Beckett's. Meanwhile, have a look at that. It's a big spin for the 70 of Nathan Anderson. Not exactly a spin, but more of a slide. He's put himself between the two pursuit cars of Bowler and Flock. Bowler is sitting pretty out in front there, but Sebastian Flock not able to find a way through. So already there's been some huge dramas happening, and we're not even halfway through this race. Simon Mazzomo side by side with Tyson Broad. Remember, this is for the Pro-Am class championship lead. Mazzomo's going to hold on to it. It's a move from further back by Joshua Van Treek on Sam Muir. Can't get alongside him fully on the way into Abbey, but he's going to put the move here into the first of the hairpins, and it's side by side again between Mazzomo and Broad. These guys have been fighting each other on track all season. It's been nothing short of fantastic to see how clean and respectful they have been, and they are keeping that up.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say almost as clean as Mazzomo's beard there. He's well trimmed, but doing quite well there. You just see Cameron Dance a little bit further back, but has had all kinds of trouble. One thing to note as well, that big slide by Anderson, very lucky there not to actually ricochet off. You usually see these Porsches there, they start with a big slide and then end up with the pendulum effect going in the opposite way. So incredibly lucky there not to have a massive accident. But you see these three are all back on the circuit, all joined pretty much in that same spot as well. So the battling is going to continue between these three.
Yeah, Dylan Shepherd fallen back with Hayden Veld after they're coming together in this very section of the track. Veld wants another go at it. The incident is under review from race control. We'll see what penalty comes of it, if any. These guys are currently behind Tyson Hanma, who, don't forget, started all the way at the back of the grid. He's really benefited from all of the drama that has gone on, up 10 places now.
Yeah, Nathan Anderson and Bowler there, I'll let you do. We probably should let you deliver the news there, Reese, but both of those two there getting 10-second time penalties.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, it's a 10-second time penalty each for them. It looks like Javin Wood and Benjamin Johnson have both gotten black flags as well for contact on lap one. Race control coming down hard on incidents at the moment. So that's 4 penalties that have come in just the last minute or so. Meanwhile, Shepherd and Veld, they've had a lot of trouble trying to find their way past Hanma. The battle here for 10th place, though, and the race to pole, as that's the number 54 of Zach Mitchell that has gone for a big spin on the start-finish straight. And will he be able to get that going again? He might request a tow from race control, and we might see a safety car out of this. So that means Dylan Shepherd really has to make this move on Tyson Hanma now and make it count. It's a much better exit out of the arena section and down into Brooklands. Veld's going to try and follow him through here. Bumper to bumper on the way into Brooklands. Shepherd is going to make the move, but looks like Hanma is still going to have the inside for Luffield here. Goes off the circuit and maintains the position. Can Shepherd get the exit round the outside? No, maybe. They're going to maintain side by side. That's a compromised line there for Tyson Hanma. And, this is not a good place to be on the outside into Cops. I think Shepherd might just have to yield here, or is he going to force the issue? Looks like he is going to force the issue. Hamilton versus Verstappen, anyone? Not quite. They give each other a good amount of room, but they are going to make it 3 wide on the way into Maggots. Goodness me, guys. Take it easy. And, wow, Tyson Hanma says, yeah, I want none of that.
Yeah, probably pretty wise there. Just try and pick up these minor positions. So obviously that they've dropped a fair way down there. with the early incidents that we've seen, but what a cool battle between these two, at least, these three, making the most of a not so ideal situation. So you probably actually think that they're going to battle even harder potentially, because now that they've almost got nothing to lose, but you could definitely... Oh! Very thankful there for Silverstone's wide track there. Very lucky he didn't bounce in there, off into the Armco.
Tyson Hanma is really making a case for himself here. I thought that he would back off and let those guys battle, but he's keeping himself in it. Meanwhile, number 15, Isaac Edwards, getting passed by Kyle Booth, who had a couple of dramas on the first lap here. Looks like Shepard and Veld have managed to clear Hanma for the time being, but the battle for 10th is ongoing. Cameron Dance, if he can find his way here into 10th, will secure himself pole position for race 2, and that will be a nice turnaround for his night. And it seems that there's not going to be much of a chance of elevating themselves further up the field there. It's quite the gap ahead to Rob Crisdale, about 3 seconds. As, oh goodness, Cam Dance trying to widen the entry into Luffield to get the best possible exit out. Does look like Mizomo picked up the throttle a little better though.
Yeah, so we've seen quite a few of those Porsches there run super wide there. You see Mizomo pushing so hard, did a massive slide only a few corners ago, so he's getting a real hang of driving that Porsche. Usually need quite a lot of finesse and general power application, but we're seeing quite a few drivers there really hang it out there, hard on the brakes as well. You can see, I think there's a car slightly up ahead. It did say on our timing screen there was about 3 seconds or so, so potentially that might be a lap car or so.
Well, there was a lapped car that let our leaders by, but it was Zach Mitchell, who we saw having that spin earlier. Dance, meanwhile, having a little look here at Mizomo into Stowe. Not going to happen for the time being. Time's rapidly running out for these guys. And if you're Tyson Broad, well, you want to try and make your way past Cameron Dance and battle with Mizomo, because they've got that Pro-Am Championship lead to worry about, those two. Dance, being a pro-class car, is not competing for points directly with either of those guys. So he wants to try and clear Mizomo as soon as possible. And, oh dear, it looks like there's been a problem for Dylan Shepard down at Vale coming into club. Does re-enter the circuit reasonably safely. We're going to see what happened there. Was it contact with Hayden Veld on the way into the corner? Well, Shepard defending from Veld there into Stowe. Veld does the crisscross very nicely, but then moves to the inside. Shepard still protecting the inside and gets rear-ended, and that's pretty much a carbon copy of what happened with Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel at the British Grand Prix in 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. Very lucky there for Shepard not to be spun out. You can actually see he...
That's exactly the same kind of incident.
Out of control there. Very lucky to not hit him again. So, unfortunately for the number 43. Quite a lot of incidents though for Shepard. Do see he's always in the thick of it, even in the previous rounds. So, Hayden Veld there getting that penalty.
Yeah, it looks like he might be getting a drive-through for that one. We'll wait and see what the full verdict is from race control as the racing continues here. Number 70, Nathan Anderson, chasing down Matthew Bowler, and this is the battle for 4th. They're a long way behind the top 3. There isn't going to be any changes for the podium for the time being, but there is going to be contact. Anderson trying his best to get the move done on Bowler, but overrunning it just a little bit. The track blends to the right just a little bit on the way into Stowe, so you've got to be careful about how you pick your line. Fortunately, doesn't look like either of them have come off of it too badly. Not much damage to be seen, no cars spinning off. Play on.
Yeah, so I think that might be even Nathan Anderson running that motion rig as well, so you just see it. Either that or he's pushing himself right into the seat there, but great result, all things being equal. You can see just how many incidents that we've had in just such a short sprint race, so not too far off there. Only about a lap and a half left to go.
Yep, well, The incident that we just saw between Bowler and Anderson is now under review by race control as well. So who knows if there's going to be a penalty coming out of that one. It hasn't cost either car position. Maybe a warning might be the way race control goes, but I'm not going to make any predictions. It's only speculation at the end of the day. We are just the guys who shout at the pixels. We are not the guys who determine the way things go, and it looks like race control have deemed it no further action, so the drivers can race on. Battle for 10th is still ongoing though. Remember, this is for the race to pole position. Simon Mazzomo holds on to it versus Cameron Dance, and now they definitely only have a lap and a half to go. This is going to be tight.
Yeah, absolutely. Mazzomo doing an excellent job holding off there, so whether or not Cameron Dance was going to try and put a move on, you can actually see these two pulled a little bit of a gap there, only about a couple of tenths. So Cameron Dance, you could say, is almost safe there from an attack. You can just see, has gone around the outside there on the straight. So yeah, great work there by Cameron Dance, not having to pull too much of a risky move getting around Mazzomo.
Yeah, interesting to see there as the final lap begins for our leaders. Tyson Broad sees a chance here to get by Mazzomo. For position, Mazzomo locks up on the way into Vale. That is going to be a very costly error there for Simon. Gets onto the sausage curb on the way through as well. That is a huge position loss. He's down to 14th now. That's a big shame for him. But now that we're on the final lap, the fighting continues here between Bowler and Anderson. Bowler defensive on the way into the arena. He's going to stick to the inside again. But Anderson with a bit more speed through the mid-corner. This might translate into a good run down the Wellington Straight. They've got to look out for Sebastian Flock as well, as it looks like Zach Mitchell there off the circuit, letting drivers go. Just up ahead of him, is there going to be a move into Brooklands? No, there isn't. A little bit too far back to get it done, but you can see how aggressive Nathan Anderson is being. He's trying to widen the entry to every single corner. He's trying to fire it into the apex and get Bowler all kinds of crossed up here in the battle for 4th place. Just a few more corners to go, really. You do have to negotiate the Beckett's S's, Stowe, and then Vale and Club. It's not going to be easy for Anderson to get the move done. Looks like he might just have to wait for the end of the Hangar Straight to get that done. But now, just a few more corners to go for Blacklock and Albert. Albert at the front of the field, and it's going to be a very satisfying victory once again here for the Altus duo. They've proven themselves to be the most consistent driver lineup and the fastest one to boot, especially in the last couple of rounds. So, championship leader negotiating the final corners here at Silverstone in the sprint race. And it'll almost be celebration time here for the driver of the 06 Altus Esports machine. Across the line they come, and it is going to be Bo Albert who wins it in race 1 here at Silverstone. And I think, judging by the reaction, he's thinking, yep, cool, job well done.
Yeah, absolutely. So great work there. You can just see a few of these minor positions that kind of doesn't really lend itself to any drafting for the line there. So we have that club corner as they come onto that Hamilton Straight there. Cameron Dance coming through as well. So great work. He's going to be in that hot... Yeah, big fist pump there by Cameron Dance. So he's going to be starting from pole here for our feature race. See these two coming around. So both Vel and Gibbs had all kinds of dramas there. Oh, around the outside there, he's going to almost be all 4 wheels off the circuit, but I think Gibbs just taking it.
Just holding on there was Robbie Gibbs. Well, the last couple finishes will come across the line. Benjamin Johnson's going to be the last car to come across the line. There are your results then. Bo Albert taking it by half a second over his teammate Sam Blacklock, who started on pole. Damon Woods is going to complete the podium. An excellent run there for Woods from 6th place. Matthew Bowler finishes where he started in 4th place, but he had to put on a big defensive drive from Nathan Anderson. Sebastian Flock in 6th. Then it's Rob Carmichael who takes the Pro-Am class victory. Zach Kerr and Rob Chrisdale completing the podium there, and Cameron Dance is your pole sitter for race 2.
Yeah, he's going to be hard there, Rob being behind those two in our reverse grid though. Tyson Broad, Sam Muir Joshua Van Treek there. Simon Mazzomo, we did see with that accident. I think I was on that last lap there. Tyson Hammer, Dylan Shepherd there, both of those having quite a lot of incidents. So we do have Kyle Booth. He's going to be the leader of our Pro-Am. Robbie Gibbs there as well. Nicholas Garrett and Isaac Edwards. Sorry, I did say Kyle Booth, the leader of our AM class. So he's going to be starting from that 7th position for the next race.
Jabin Wood, unfortunately, qualified on pole in the AM class, but it all went wrong for him on lap 1. He's going to have to settle for 21st place. Benjamin Johnson, the last car to cross the line on the lead lap in 22nd. Hayden Veld with a penalty. Zach Mitchell and Ryan Jones. The last 2 cars there. Ryan Jones, our sole retirement from the first race. Well, we're going to step aside very briefly here on SimSpeed TV. When we come back, it's going to be the feature race, 18 more laps and a required pit stop here in the AOG Porsche Cup presented by Sam Blacklock Media. You're watching the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup here at Silverstone, presented by Sam Blacklock Media. Just a few seconds left until we get into the grid for the second of our 2 races here tonight. I'm Reese Gardner. It's Nick Scariev alongside me in the commentary box. As the checkered flag flies, we can check out our field. that will negotiate 18 laps and a pit stop for fuel. In first place, it is going to be Cameron Dance. This is going to be a chance for him to regain some momentum after a poor result in race 1 compared to his qualifying performance. He starts alongside Rob Crisdale on the first row. Zach Kerr and Rob Carmichael put their Pro-Am cars into 3rd and 4th. Sebastian Flock and Nathan Anderson 5th and 6th. In 7th place, it is going to be Matthew Bowler, and then our top 3 in inverse order from the first race here: Damon Woods, Sam Blacklock, and Bo Albert, with Tyson Broad and Sam Muir 11th and 12th. It's Joshua Van Treek who starts out of 13th place alongside Simon Mazzomo, with Tyson Hanmer and Dylan Shepherd on row 8. Kyle Booth is going to start on pole in the AM class, with Robbie Gibbs alongside him on the 9th row of the grid. Nicholas Garriage is going to start along Isaac Edwards to round out the top 20. Javin Wood and Benjamin Johnson 21st and 22nd. And then the last 3 cars: Hayden Veld, Zach Mitchell, and Ryan Jones. We'll see. It looks like all of them have taken to the grid. So this is going to be a fun one. Really looking forward to this one, Nick.
Yeah, I think all eyes are now going to be on around that 10th and 9th position there. The 2 Altus cars, you can see that they're actually not on the grid as of yet. I'm sure those 2 are just discussing a bit of a game plan, but as we saw the carnage, it's going to be tricky being in that midfield again. We did see, I think we almost saw about 4 or 5 cars there, all affected in that first lap. So trying to get away cleanly is going to be a task easier said than done.
Easier said than done indeed. You can say that about a lot of things in sim racing. Dance gets onto the grid. We're just waiting on 1 car now, and I think it is going to be Sam Blacklock who's the last one to get on the grid. Makes sense. He was the last driver to get on the grid in race 1. There we go, just in time for the timer to end. Clock hits 0, the revs rise. Let's see who gets the best start here at Silverstone. It's a longer race. Definitely something the drivers are going to have to work out. All right, here we go. Throttle down. Make sure you dump the clutch right. And we are away. Pretty good start there from Dance, but that is a terrible start there for Rob Carmichael. Getting swamped by the rest of the field on the way into turn 1. They all make their way through. Looks like a bit less chaos there through the first couple of turns this time around, at least. The Altus cars trying to get past Matthew Bowler too wide. Albert goes for a slide and makes contact with Bowler. The championship leader is off. Bowler spins back onto the track and collects the rest of the field.
Yeah, that potentially might be a safety car there. We'll see what. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out here with race control. You can see. Oh, we've just seen another car there off down that back part of the straight. We've seen another one go off as well. Really hard by the looks of it, trying to get away cleanly. We are having a look there. We've had Damon Woods there has had to take that tow hook.
And Matthew Bowler is having to drive backwards. Tyson Hanmer also going off at the exit of the arena. My goodness. Bowler has gotten some incredibly heavy damage there in the midst of all of that. His car was crabbing as Dylan Shepherd tries here on Hayden Veldet Cops, and they make contact again. Come on, guys. Take it easy. Can Veld keep it out of the tyre bundles? Yes, he can, only just, but he's not going to be too happy with Albert. The number 18 of Tyson Hanmer is still stopped out there on track as the rest of the field goes by through the Beckett's S's. Let's see if there is a safety car. Damon Woods, a confirmed retirement. He is disconnected from the server. We're still waiting. It looks like Hanmer has been allowed to tow as a result of that, but a very mixed up field as things stand, and that looked like Rob Crisdale that has gone off there at Stowe Corner. Yeah,
there was contact there with Sam Blacklock, so he's actually come back onto the circuit. Is he going to try and make the corner here? It is really tight there. I think you get to see Bo Albert there amongst Dylan Shepherd and the likes. You actually see Albert not too much damage on his car, obviously just been ejected way down that field here at the moment, but all kinds of pandemonium. Sam Blacklock there losing 2 positions. He might be carrying some damage as well.
Slow down.
Taking a slowdown there.
It looks like the same for Sebastian Flock as well. Oh my goodness, what a chaotic first lap that was. It was all going so well through the first couple of turns. Then they got to the part where you actually have to slow down. First couple of drivers coming into the pits, and these will be drivers that are taking damage repairs. Kyle Booth, Javin Wood, and Sam Muir here making his way towards his pit box. Some very heavy damage on the front of his car. He was caught up in the incident when Matthew Bowler spun back onto the racetrack. And there's a problem for Simon Mazzomo as well. That looks like down at Brooklands. That's a big shame for him. Mazzomo was up into 5th when that incident happened.
Yeah, and he's got a big group of cars there coming up pretty hot in behind. We are going to cut to a VRS replay.
So this is going to be what happened on the start. So Albert manages to overtake Rob Carmichael, goes side by side, and we've got Damon Woods there up ahead of them, but we'll keep an eye on the pursuit car that they try to pass here. Albert gets up the inside of Bowler, and Blacklock tries to follow him, but Albert got a bit of a slide on, and Bowler slides back onto the track. And this is what happened to Damon Woods. It was 3 wide on the way in here. Did he get contact from behind? Oh my goodness, getting back onto the circuit off the curb was Nathan Anderson. And I don't think Damon Woods is going to be happy with that one at all.
Yeah, so we've just seen, you would have thought it would be a couple more cool heads there after that pretty chaotic sprint race, but it's all boiled over here into this feature as well. So
problem for Blacklock. No problem for Blacklock. He's come into the pits. Meatball flag for Sam Blacklock. He picked up he must have picked up some big damage there in that lap 1 incident.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of that panel damage there. It didn't look too bad from the outside, but whether or not his steering was just out enough there that it flagged it as a meatball. So the bad luck there from Malthus continues here for this feature race.
Yeah, wow, that's both of their cars with problems. And we've just received news of a drive-through penalty for Matt Bowler for not holding the brakes. I have some sympathy for Bowler there, to be honest with you. If it were me in that incident and I'd just been sent up into the air, my first thought would not be to hold the brakes, and I doubt that it would have helped that much coming back onto the racetrack. But either way, that is the decision that Race Control have made. Meanwhile, the number 15 of Isaac Edwards, just behind Sam Blacklock, who's just come out of the pits with a fresh car. Edwards still carrying a lot of damage from the lap 1 incident, but electing not to come in for repairs just yet. He's probably just looking to lose as little time as possible, get his repairs done when he comes in for his scheduled stop.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's going to blow our field out a little bit there. You can see there, just in that time marker there, Albert in 6th place. You can see, I think, almost our top 10 there. Nicholas Garrett, though, has worked his way well and truly up. About 10 seconds splitting up the field here at the moment, so everyone having well and truly enough space here. We'll see these battles heat up a little bit more as the race progresses.
Yeah, let's hope that we can get into some kind of rhythm here. Let's check out Rob Crisdale. He's got Dylan Shepherd just up behind him. Shepherd not going for the move, but have a look at Van Treat going for it on Nicholas Garriich. Garriich sees him coming and thinks, all right, I'm just going to let you go, mate. Go off the circuit. Van Treat's rear end goes, yes, I will have some of that. Thank you very much. Oh, we'll check out the replay of that one. It looks like Garriich actually got onto the grass on the way into Vale. That would have massively destabilized the car and caused him to lock up the brakes slightly, as well as the battle continues here between the 73 and the 70. This is for 2nd and 3rd overall. Amazing to see that we've got a Pro-Am car still up there in 2nd place, but Nathan Anderson might have a penalty hanging over his head potentially for that incident that involved Damon Woods. And oh dear, looks like there's been some further problems down in the field. Looks like Sam Blacklock has had another issue there, and Zach Mitchell as well. You see Blacklock there has fallen behind Isaac Edwards.
Yeah, absolutely. He is actually managing, though, to keep on this lead lap, even though having to come in the pits and take that damage. So he's well and truly down the field here. We are going to have a look at this VRS replay. Oh, God, that was a big impact, but I think he's actually snuck away without getting too much damage on that. We are going to have a look at it from a different angle, Reese.
Oh, they went 3 wide into the left-hander. Rob Carmichael widening the entry to the turn. Blacklock thinks I'll go for it, but Carmichael had already committed to turning in for the corner by that point. So unfortunate there for both of those drivers. And I think Benjamin Johnson's going to be thanking his lucky stars he escaped the worst of that. So now round 2, Blacklock versus Edwards, as Edwards has a big mistake there. He's going to collect the Armco barrier through the Beckett's S's. And I think that might have to secure a pit stop for Isaac Edwards before too long. Meanwhile, Bo Albert, amazing to see that he has managed to hold on to 6th place, even in the midst of all of the drama that he has suffered. He's going to be trying to line up a move here on Sebastian Flock as they come on to the 5th lap of this race. Albert still carrying a hefty deal of damage. You see that he actually has some crumpling in the front left as he goes for the move on Flock. Gets up the inside, coming into turn 3.
Yeah, made that one look quite easy. So I was actually just checking through some of the driver notes here, whether or not there is a fast repair that Blacklock took. So just confirming that he did take a fast repair. So was in and out rather quick. Oh, re-contact, but it's actually worked out. Unfortunately for Robert Crisdale, he's trying to spin back on and trying to get his way back onto the circuit.
Wow, there has been quite a lot of dramas here, but one of the beneficiaries is Ryan Jones. Started at the back of the grid, remember, but he's kept his nose clean. He's avoided all of the big drama, and he is now up into 13th. He's looking to get himself in with an eye on this battle for 9th place. He's got Van Treek, Garriachveld, and Mazzomo 9th to 12th up ahead of him. This is the onboard from Garriach as he tries to chase down Van Treek, and it looks to me like Garriach leading the AM class at the moment, so back in familiar territory for the number 66.
Yeah, it is a pretty good run here as well. You can see actually someone that's worked their way up the field as well. I think Ryan Jones has also avoided a lot of that carnage though, but yeah, great work there by Nicholas Garriach. So we are seeing him here as the leader of the AM class there. We're just seeing Cameron Dancer under a lot of pressure as well.
Oh, Cam's lost the lead. Nathan Anderson now into P1. That is an interesting development, and I'm wondering if that was a mistake for Cameron Dance. The top 4 still together, Zach Kerr and Robert Gibbs fighting hard behind them. We'll get another look thanks to our friends at Virtual Racing School. Yeah, Cam was a bit wide there through Stowe. Didn't quite get the run he needed down into Vale, and Nathan Anderson says, yes, please, I'm going to make this move. And Dance thinks that discretion is the better part of valor. Remember, they still have to negotiate the pits, as this guy here, Rob Carmichael, is doing at the moment. Now, Rob is going to be thinking about the rest of this race, probably hoping for a safety car as well, because remember, he started in 4th place and absolutely bogged down off the line.
Yeah, actually came into that pit box as well pretty crossed up, so it's surprising how much it affects your pit time there. You really need to come in square on. Having a look, I think that is Crisdale there. One of the drop bear cars. Yeah, drop bear with that single car campaigning here for the Porsches, but we've seen him in quite a lot of the other production car racing as well. So flying that single drop bear flag there as well as Daniel Yeaman doing quite a lot for them, being our race administrator.
Yeah, plenty of work has had to be done by race control in the midst of all of this battle for the lead ongoing. And yeah, you see that Yeaman is keeping his eyes trained on what's going on. He has a lot to keep track of here, doesn't he?
That is not Daniel Yeaman's happy face, just for anyone.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it is tricky too, because you're obviously trying to, as a bit of a walk behind the scenes. I've been pretty fortunate that the ones that I've helped do all the race control stuff, it's been maybe a little bit cleaner than what we've seen here tonight. But yeah, if there's a lot of incidents, you've got to try and review them as well as keep an eye on what's happening as well. So Yeah, you can see the look of panic on his face is definitely shared by everyone.
Indeed it is. Well, the battle for ninth continues here. Van Treek is going to be threatened by Hayden Veld here, who's certainly trying to work his way back up. Coming into the first corner here. Will he be able to get it done? Veld is up 14 places now, making good on recovering from that penalty, and up into ninth place he goes. But for how long? Van Treek's going to try and line him up here for an over-under, or even side-by-side on the exit of the arena section. So looks to me like Veld has held on to that. Speaking of Veld, remember how he had that contact with Dylan Shepherd on lap 1? Well, Shepherd has been given a drive-through penalty as a result of that, and he's already gone and served it.
Yeah, so great work getting those penalties done. We did see a few were handed out there at the last round as well. So, Zomo, a little bit of a slide there. He has a... is interesting watching the feedback from his car as he goes around. He seems to really white knuckle it as he comes around the track there. As you can see, using all the track as well. Great little battle though between these three. We've seen, excited. Great seeing Pursuit out there as well. We were just talking about teams a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so things are not going as well for Pursuit as they were in race 1, but they are still out on track at the moment, still trying to pick up those points. But we keep our eyes trained on the battle for the top 3 here. Here comes Robert Gibbs, trying it on Cameron Dance, but thinking better of it, just pulling up a little bit earlier, allowing Dance to continue. Albert is really making up time on these guys as they fight. Albert's last lap was a 2:01.963. In fact, get this, he's the only driver that was in the 2:01s apart from Robert Crisdale on the last lap, and he sets another 2:01 on his way through. Oh, Nathan Anderson! He's gone for a spin! Anderson with a big spin there, out of turn 2. Fortunately, it looks like no other cars are involved in that, but Anderson will be none too happy with that. It looked like he just caught the curb on the way through the second turn there, and now he's got Bo Albert for very close company.
Yeah, absolutely there. So he's going to be feeling the pressure. Didn't really cost him too much. I think track position-wise, you can just see Dance up there a little bit up ahead.
Oh, and Gibbs has passed him. Gibbs has passed him for the lead. This is an amazing performance from Robert Gibbs. He's made up 17 places. He is the driver with the most positions gained in the field. We'll get another look, though, at what happened to Nathan Anderson, who's still holding on to 4th for the time being. So, in the lead of the race, making his way through Abbey and then through Farm, but it's at the apex of this corner, coming across the curb, just gets a little unsettled and on the grass, jumps on the brakes there to keep the car from spinning off into the rest of his compatriots, and Cameron Dance takes the lead back. But what happened here to Cam Dance? Robert Gibbs has definitely been putting the hammer down. Let's see what he does here at Brooklands. Already got the run on Cameron Dance coming out of the arena section, and pulls up alongside him on the straight very nicely. Fantastic momentum there from the Drop Bear Nkosi driver, and Cameron Dance just decides, yeah, all right, I'll let you take that and I can fight back later.
Yeah, absolutely. That was almost the move that Dance put on Mizomo, I think, in the sprint race. So you do see, have seen Bo Albert there get around that car. 70 though, but fighting back, and it is going in the side there. Both of them spinning there. So you can imagine Bo Albert's going to be not too happy about that. The actual car 70 there. Anderson almost a sitting duck there, stuck out on circuit.
Wow, it has been a torrid race for many of our top drivers in race 1. Lots of reversals of fortune here tonight at Silverstone. Now, Albert's going to be facing pressure from Sebastian Flock, who remains where he started this race in 5th. Not going to be quite close enough to get the move done that time around. But man, it seems like every time we start getting into the rhythm of commentating this race, something dramatic happens out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw in that sprint race, so everyone managed to sort themselves out by about 10 laps in or so, but yeah, we're still seeing it's almost because because the track is littered with such a difference between some of the pro cars and the AM cars and everything mixing between, that they're all kind of catching up to each other, and then you do see these risky moves take place.
Looks like Albert still has the pace over Flock, though, so there shouldn't be too many dramas there, but Albert is way off the top 3 now, which we check out. Robert Gibbs, Cameron Dance, and now Zach Kerr back into where he started in 3rd place. Very interesting to see what the pace has been like here, because, I mean, Albert's obviously carrying damage. We check out a little bit further back, though, the battle for 8th. Joshua Van Treek has been trying his darndest to hold on to these positions, but he's been passed by Hayden Veld and then Simon Mazzomo. So we'll be trying to get this position back quick sharp. Mazzomo will be looking for a bit more of a consistent result this time around after his mistake in race 1.
Yeah, absolutely. You just see how deep Mazzomo is there on the brakes, so he made that apex pretty well. It's almost a bit of a sunset there here that we have here in Silverstone. You just see these 3 are bunching up quite a lot, so I reckon going to see Mazzomo there under a lot of pressure really soon there. You can see Nicholas Garich, though, latched onto the back of those 2, so great work there by AM class. We are going to see a couple of cars come through the pits there. I think that is Nathan Anderson there in that car 70.
And I haven't seen any news of a penalty for Anderson for that contact with Albert just yet, so I think that's a scheduled pit stop for him. We'll check out Cameron Dance, though, on board with the Kiwi in the number 6 as he tries to get the lead back from Robbie Gibbs. I mean, I've already said it and I'll say it again. Robert Gibbs has really set the timing sheets on fire in this race and has raced very well. We haven't usually seen him right up here with Cameron Dance, but now that he is up at the front of the field, he is certainly getting his eye in for it. I've just been informed that that was a drive-through that we saw Nathan Anderson serving, so race control quick on that, as that's a problem there for Nicholas, that was the 369 of Javin Wood, who qualified on pole in the AM class. Car going off behind him. What happened to Javin Wood? Did he take it? Oh, yeah, a little bit too early on the throttle. Rears spun up and around he went. Typical incident that you usually see in these Porsches. They do have the engine right at the back of the car, so once you get those rears lit up, the rear end acts like a pendulum.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're quite a lot of power, really tight rear differential as well. So it's a bit different there to maybe some of the other production cars in the open wheelers where you can kind of hold it flat out coming out. These really do require a little bit of throttle modulation, especially on these big sweeping turns like we're seeing here at Silverstone. We do see, I think that is a pursuit car that has come in there, Reese.
It's a synergy car of Hayden Veld, who comes in from 7th place. 6th place rather, and we'll see what he does here in the pit lane. The pit stops that we've been seeing so far from the likes of Ryan Jones and Rob Carmichael running about 7.8 to 7.9 seconds. Dylan Shepherd has come in as well. Already served a penalty so far in this race, and it's going to be a scheduled stop for him. So now, with 8 laps to go, we're really seeing the meat of the field get their way into the pits. How long are these guys going to leave it? We'll see if Dance decides to pit before or after Robert Gibbs, because tyres aren't a factor in these cars or with races of this length. It all comes down to fuel, so the undercut isn't really an issue. I think Dance is still going to have to race Robert Gibbs out on track if he wants this lead back, but he's not going to be too happy with that. A little bit wide on the way into Cops.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say Robert Gibbs doing his best to staying alive, but that was actually Barry Gibbs, so I always get my ABBA people mixed up there. But Robert doing an excellent job there. Cameron Dance definitely making the most there of a not so great situation. Hasn't let Robert Gibbs though too much up the road. You see Robert actually trying to throw the draft out there, bit weaving there, probably not really maybe that necessary. Not too far yet anyways. We do have to see these two come through the pits though. Actually see quite a fair distance up ahead of that car in behind him. I forget who that was in third. I think they're
Kurt.
about 2. That is Kerr there, so about 2 seconds adrift.
Well, Cameron is certainly focusing with a huge slide. Well held by Cameron Dance, but he's none too happy with that. The car is not to his liking. He's got to try as hard as he can, not really to take it all out of the car, but more just to keep it within the limits at this stage, because the amount of incidents we've seen of drivers just looping it by themselves is a little bit too much, I think. Dance will certainly be aware of that. He's a very experienced sim racer, experienced real-life racer as well, does Formula V in New Zealand on occasion, so certainly with a lot of experience out there, but certainly showing that he needs to try just a little harder here to get the lead back.
You actually see those two in that last corner there, Robert Gibbs, missing the apex, though. Cameron keeps it really, really tight there. Oh, as we just seen.
Garage.
Yeah, Garage there again was seeing so many Porsches there have very similar incidents through that corner. This is a replay, so we're going to work out.
Oh, okay.
There's not too much to change the direction on this track, except for probably about that corner there, which, yeah, it's a flick of the left and then the right there can really unsettle it. Rear engine, as we're pretty well accustomed to know now here in this series. Race control, though, doing a lot of work trying to work out what has gone on here at the moment. We're seeing a few drivers there leaning on each other maybe a little bit more than what they need to.
The problem there with Garage was he was getting on the brakes as the weight was transitioning from right to left on the car. And it's difficult to line up that braking zone in cars like this, where you've got extended braking distances, and the braking zone for turn 3 is as you're coming out of turn 2. So I can understand why that error was made. Keep an eye on Bo Albert, though, because he was the fastest car on track on the last lap, still running low 202s here as the grip goes down on the tyres. 202.5 on that lap, and he holds on to the fastest lap of the race. Look at how much time he has been taking out of Zach Kerr for third.
Yeah, absolutely. It just really shows just at a level that Bo Albert's at there, holding that consistency. You'd have to say there, maybe looking at some of the other drivers around him, a little bit more sporadic there in those lap times, but he just absolutely dials it in there on those 202s, and that's really such a market of this level of driver.
Well, we've got a few race control decisions to go through here. There's been a big, another flurry of notes from race control. No further action for the contact between Anderson and Woods on lap 1, when Anderson came back onto the track and into the side of Damon Woods. But Damon has gotten himself a license point penalty for escaping without permission. So frustration getting the better of him there. No further action for potential unsafe rejoin for Sam Blacklock. And as the move is almost on here for Van Treek on Mazzomo, well, there we go. Blacklock's going to have to make a decision here. Is he going to thread the needle? Making the move. Here we go into Maggots and Beckett's. Blacklock gains 2 places there. Okay. Right. So back to what I was saying, as Van Treek makes the move on Mazzomo finally. Coming into Beckett's, no. Big spin for Joshua Van Treek. Loses out there. Mazzomo will continue on. Man, that was all for 7th place that we saw there, as now we have our race leaders coming into the lane, or one of our race leaders at least, Robert Gibbs coming in, Bo Albert on the way into the pits as well. They're joined by Sebastian Flock and Tyson Broad. The last point I was going to make about the race control decisions, a 5-second time penalty for the 124 of Rob Carmichael for failing to leave racing room for an incident on lap 4. Okay, so Now, we've got a bunch of cars in the pits. Mazomo, Garriott, Johnson and Van Treek are now all in the lane as well. That's positions 8 to 11. And here's what went on for Mazomo. This is after what happened between himself and Van Treek. So they go through Beckett's and Chappell, but there was a bit of contact between them. That's what sent Van Treek off. I don't know who to blame, if anyone, for that incident. We'll check it out.
Yeah, I was going to say
Van Treek was already sideways, wasn't he?
Yeah, Van Treek maybe just spinning it out of that corner a bit. Obviously, Mazomo in nice and tight probably didn't really see that wash off of speed there. So we'll see what race control says about that. Obviously, wasn't on purpose, but I think running it so close, you can run into problems such as that.
So, Dance is the only driver, along with Zach Kerr, to have stayed out of the pits so far. Robert Gibbs has come out of the lane with a 6.8 second stop. That's a pretty good time. Interesting to see that there's only a 4.5 second stop for Sam Blacklock. I would hazard a guess that maybe there's... he might have taken a little bit of extra fuel when he was taking his fast repair earlier. Remember, Blacklock was really heavily involved and got that meatball flag at the start of the race. Dance and Kerr, though, make their way in with only 5 laps remaining, now 4 as they cross the line. Let's see where Robert Gibbs comes out in all of this. Dance has gone a lap longer, so there'll be a little bit less fuel for him to put in the tank to get to the end. Dance stops in his box at the end of the pit lane. Zach Kerr does the same. Robert Gibbs across the line and on the way through. Dance is now out of the lane. Will he be able to maintain this? It looks like they're going to be side by side just about. Robert Gibbs is behind Cameron Dance. Is he going to go for the move here into turn 3? No. Cameron Dance is ahead.
Yeah, great work there by Dance. Covering off well. The Gibbs right on that rear bar, right under the rear wing there. You'd have to say Albert just buying his time there to get past Kerr. I don't think he'd be able to, though, close up on these two here at the front.
So it is a battle for the top two, with Cameron Dance and Robert Gibbs fighting hard as they were before. So Dance has gotten the lead back then thanks to a shorter stop, 5.3 seconds for Dance versus 6.8 for Gibbs. But we saw how confident Robbie Gibbs was on the way through his move on Cameron Dance a little bit earlier. So there's every chance that he might be able to do that again. They got Blacklock behind them in third, a little bit of a mistake for Dance. So the exit of Cops. Car getting just a little sideways, and Gibbs is going to have the draft down the hangar straight, so every chance a move could be made here, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. I said Albert before that. It was Sam Blacklock, so absolutely on a stellar comeback there from that earlier meatball flag. I think it just shows just how well. It's Gibbs, though, looking left, looking right, looking left again. He's going to try and go around the outside, though. He's going to be held off on the almost a rough part of the circuit, though. Dance. These two almost touching. I think we're all holding our breath. He's going to give Gibbs that inside line, though. That Dance not yielding. He's trying to hold up along side by side. Again, they stay side by side through the back of there. They're going to come, I think, pass over that start-finish line. Gibbs trying to go for the cross under again.
Well, inside into turn 1, we'll see what he can do. Albert, meanwhile, got through on Kerr, and Gibbs gets through on Dance, finally. That took about a third of a lap to sort out, but Dance won't be done just yet. Gibbs with a slightly tighter run into the arena section. Can Dance do the crisscross? It's so hard to sight your way into that hairpin. It's so tight. It wasn't until I got a triple screen set up that I was actually able to make that corner consistently. But it looks like Cameron Dance is not quite done with Robbie Gibbs here with only 3 laps to go.
You can see Gibbs just running a little bit wide into that, but doing such a great job, though, defending on that line. You can see Dance not really being able to find a way around here at the moment. They're going to come through. This is the old start-finish straight here as well, so not to be confused. I'm Sure, I've confused myself plenty of times thinking.
It is the
was-
old start finish straight.
Yeah. Great battle though, as it continues.
And all of this has really benefited Sam Blacklock, who is starting to round these guys up. Blacklock versus Gibbs on the last lap, 6/10 quicker. And if Dance and Gibbs keep battling like they are, if they keep running side by side like they did coming along this spot on the previous lap, then Blacklock's going to be right there with them. Look at how close he is. Dance is not going to go for the move this time around. I think they have learned their lesson, but for the time being, let's see how their sight lines are affected by the gradually setting sun. It is 10 minutes to 8 p.m. In the session. So the track is still quite cold, and it's only going to get colder. For the time being, Dance not successful in finding his way past Robbie Gibbs.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 more laps to go there. You can just see Eve and just a little bit of wheel spin there. Oh, Gibbs. Sideways out of that one there. You can just see a clip in the grass. But you can see if these two kept running side by side, you can see Blacklock just reeling him in corner by corner. But I don't think he's really going to be close enough. I think they'd almost have to really get up side by side or change positions a couple more times to really hand it to Blacklock as well. And you'd have to say there, after Sam's had such a treacherous, oh jeez, you'd see Dance going so tight again.
Yeah, a bit too tight on entry. Doesn't work out from well on the exit. Gives Robbie Gibbs a bump at the apex of Luffield. He is really harassing him through that part of the circuit. That's where Dance is definitely strong. It does seem like Gibbs gets one back on him through the second half of the lap, though. Dance is still able to stick nice and close, though. A little bit tighter into Cops, and that has worked out pretty well for Dance. A little bit of a gain. Oh, is he going to try and commit to Maggots? No, thank you. That is not the kind of move we would expect Cameron Dance to make, and he does not. So, let's check out the exit. Oh, Dance getting into the grass through Chapel. This is not going to be a fun ride for either of these guys as they come up to the white flag in just a few corners time. 20 seconds left on the clock. Gibbs taking a bit of a wider entry into Stowe, and that's worked out brilliantly for him. Dance with a big slide on the exit of Stowe, and Sam Blacklock is majorly saving fuel, as we have heard. Race control are thinking that he might be 2 laps short. I thought that short pit stop was a bit suspicious, so we'll see if he can hold on. Oh, it's checkered flag. Goodness me. It's the checkered flag. What? I thought we were going to get an extra lap there. It went time certain at the end of it. Looks like it took a little bit longer than we expected. So Robert Gibbs comes away with the race win. I'm sorry that we didn't call that finish the way it deserved. We didn't expect that. It's still 3 wide. Ryan Jones trying to thread the needle between Rob Carmichael and Nicholas Garriott. Gets it done. Carmichael gets hit off. Benjamin Johnson sees a potential move here, but probably not going to get it done before the line, and it's sliding, spinning Ryan Jones and Nicholas Garriott across the line. Okay, so, whoa, that was a thing?
Yeah, we just saw a flying Altus car. I think that was Sam Blacklock, but great work there. I think Ryan Jones has turned his bad luck into a bit of good luck, though. Maybe a bit of a questionable move there on the second last corner, but getting it done. Oh, you could just see he actually hit that curb there, and Nicholas Garrish there spinning as well.
Well, the line comes up very quickly at Silverstone, so no big dramas for those guys despite their spins. But Robert Gibbs will certainly be a happy camper there in the Drop Bear Nkosi machine. And wow, I mean, what a drive. Up 17 places to take victory in race 2.
Yeah, you'd have to be super happy with that. I'm sure we'll get the chance to maybe have a bit of a quick chat there as well. Great work by Cameron Dance as well in that second place, but I'll let you go through our top 10.
Well, Zach Kerr comes home in Third place is... Oh, it looks like Cam got a post-race penalty. Did he exceed the incident limit? That is going to be disastrous for Cameron Dance. It looks like Bo Albert at the end of the day is classified in second, with Zach Kerr in third, Sam Blacklock in fourth, and Sebastian Flock in fifth place. Good Pro-Am win there for Zach Kerr. Tyson Broad, Simon Mazzomo, Ben Johnson, Rob Crisdale and Dylan Shepherd round out the top 10.
Yeah, Dylan Shepherd there having a bit better luck there in our race too. Hayden Veld, Joshua Van Treek. And then Cameron Dance there from second place, knocked all the way down into 13th there in front of Zach Mitchell there, Cam Murr, Nicholas Garrett, Rob Carmichael, Isaac Edwards, Ryan Jones we did see there with spreading that needle in there before for 9th position, and Cole Booth in 20th.
21st, Tyson Hanmer with Nathan Anderson unfortunately retiring from this one, along with Jabin Wood, Matt Bowler and Damon Woods. And a big fat F in the chat for Cameron Dance, because he got a slowdown just before the line. If you're familiar with iRacing, you know that if you still have a slowdown to clear when you cross the line at the end of a race, you automatically get a bunch of time added onto your race. So, man, that is such a huge shame for Cameron Dance.
Yeah, we did see him. We might have to cut to a replay. He actually did hit that inside curb super hard. I think he launched all 4 tyres off the ground, so potentially just hitting that last, the anti-cut curb really hard is actually, yeah, a bit unfortunate for Cam. We were just celebrating his turn of good luck, but his bad luck continues.
It does indeed. Well, we can go to our driver interviews then to end things off. First driver we're going to talk to is Robbie Gibbs, and big congratulations to you, Rob. That was a fantastic drive in race 2.
Yeah, thanks, mate. That was a bunch of fun. I've been racing with Cam a lot lately, but it's good to race against him, and both kept it clean, which was always good to see.
So, I mean, I'm just boggled at how you were able to get to the lead after starting in 18th. I mean, I know you had the pace. You qualified 5th. I think largely it just came down to incident avoidance in the first couple of laps.
Yeah, I reckon you're as boggled as I am, to be honest with you. I come out of, the first lap, and I looked at the leaderboard and I was 6th or something, and I thought, all right, that's a better start. But, yeah, then it was just about I was trying to manage the tyres a bit. I noticed that a few of the guys around me had more wing on their setups, I think. So I knew as long as I got a good run on the straight, then I'd be pretty good for was it turn 15? But yeah, don't know how I got through all of that. Guess it was some good luck this race.
Yeah, indeed, some very good luck indeed. Coming into the pit stop phase in race 2, how were you on fuel? Did you expect the race to be cut a lap short?
No, didn't know it. Got cut a lap short. My fuel calculator said put 10 point something in, so I put 11. And once I came out and I realised, once I started pushing to try and beat Cam out of the pits, I realised that I was pretty much spot on fuel. So I was just hoping I didn't spin or anything and waste a bit of fuel. But I wasn't sure how much fuel Cam was saving, because I know he's good at that sort of stuff. But I reckon I lost a bit of time on pit entry and exit. But that's all right. I was close enough to him where I could give it a good crack.
Well, this will certainly give you a great haul of points in the Pro Drivers standings. You were 15th coming into this round, and with many of our regular Pro Class competitors before you not turning up for the last few rounds, this sets you up for a really good mid-season.
Yeah, I'm looking to make this series a bit more of a priority again now. So, yeah, you're right. It's a good way to get back on my feet, I think.
Well, who do you have to thank for your result tonight?
Well, I've got to thank Nkosi, Hybrid Racing Simulations, Revolution Race Gear, RPM, and Drop Bear Motorsport for giving me the car, and the lovely broadcast team, and the race stewards, of course.
Well, that's Robbie Gibbs there for Drop Bear Motorsport taking victory in race 2 here tonight. at the Silverstone circuit. Next up, stood by with Nick Skariev, is Bo Albert, who, despite some dramas in race 2, still got on the podium twice tonight.
Yeah, congratulations, Bo. Not the dominant display that what we're used to here, so you have to take us through tonight and give us an excuse here why you're not up the front on the top step.
There needs to be an excuse. I'm the best there is. No, I'm not going to do that. No, like, it was just a very competitive race tonight. I just didn't make the best of qualifying. I mean, it's always a good day if qualifying second's a bad day. Fortunately, got a good jump on Sam in race 1, and we just sort of held position there. So race 1, probably was quite a nice performance, and that's one I'll remember fondly. Race 2, however, I don't really know what to say. That was one of the most chaotic races ever. Into turn 1, there was, I think it might have been Sebastian Flock. It was one of the PSR cars. It was quite slow on the inside, just clearly being very cautious, which understandably so with how turn 1 sort of funnels in. And it sort of caught me off guard a little bit, and I pinched the rears, and I sort of spun myself, but in the process of me sort of having a solo spin, I've collected bowler and kicked everything off. So that was one incident, which was obviously very dramatic, as you guys would have saw. But I know championships are won on your bad days, so I just wanted to give 100%, get my head down, and try and make some progress. But then obviously a bit more chaos kicked down further in the race with Nathan Anderson. He was quite slow in a straight line, so I made a pretty clean pass on him into Stowe. And I'm going to say he went for quite the optimistic overtake into the final braking zone, and that was a second incident. So from there, it was just sort of bring the car home wherever I could.
Yeah, absolutely. We did see that post-race penalty there by Cam Dance did actually push you up just a little bit further there, but seeing that consistency throughout the whole season, I think we're at round 8 now, has just absolutely put you right at that top of that leaderboard here at the moment. Both you and Sam would have to say they're surely, it can't even be secrets, surely. It's pretty obvious if you two, the amount of work that you both put in into this series.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very competitive series, so if you want to be at the front, we have to put the work in. Like, I don't want anyone to think we're doing this easily, because we're not. Like, there is work going into this. We're pushing hard every round, because every round, there's a new driver pop in, or there's another driver who's been in the series for a while who puts in an extra effort and, gets close to us. So we're continually pushed to that next level, and race 1 was no exception. Sam probably could have re-overtaken me on lap 1 if he really wanted to, but in the end, he just elected to say single file because Damon Woods was right behind us, and he ran with us the entire majority of the race. So, it's a lot of work, but that's why we love AOG.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations again with that podium, Bo. Any people and sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, absolutely. A big shout out to the guys at Logitech G Virtual Racing School, Race Tech Gaming behind me in this glorious seat. You have no idea how comfy it is. And also you guys at SimSpeed, and for all the work you do on the broadcast. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bo Albert, and I'll take it back to Reese.
Indeed, great results there for Bo Albert. The next driver we're going to have a chat to is Zach Kerr in the number 73, who took the Pro-Am class win in race 2. That reverse grid really worked out for you, Zach.
Yeah, it did. I had a reasonable start, and I gained 1 place going around the outside in turn 1. And just mainly avoided the chaos for the rest of the race.
Well, for sure, it was a pretty fantastic run for you. You spent a lot of time in it on your own, not truly involved in the big battles. You did face an awful lot of pressure from Bo Albert at the end, though. What was it like in that battle for you?
It was a bit tough coming out the pits knowing he was behind me. I didn't want to battle him too hard, and I kind of just wanted to back him up a little bit to get Seb a bit closer, but he just had more pace than me and was able to get past really easily.
Well, at the end of the day, it's a pretty fantastic run for you, and certainly is going to help you in the championship points, especially considering your closest competitors finished a bit down the order in this one.
Yeah, it was pretty good. No one was really up there, so.
Well, who do you have to thank for your result tonight?
I just got to thank a few of the guys at PSR and VNM and Bowler Media.
Well, that's going to be a fantastic run there from Zach Kerr. We thank him for joining us, and we'll go to Zach Mitchell, who, if the results screen is correct, crossed the line in first place in the AM class. Welcome, Zach, and well, that was a bit of an interesting night for you, wasn't it?
It very much was. I didn't exactly have a great race one, sort of binned it halfway through the race. Started at the back for race 2, and then came in, sort of just did my own thing, played a bit of a strategy game towards the middle there, and then all of a sudden I find out I'm P1 after all of that.
Indeed, and wow, you were. It was quite a chaotic start to race 2. Chaotic start to race 1 as well, but we'll talk about the race 2 one. What was your view on all of the drama that happened there back in the field?
I was too focused on trying to dodge everybody that I just sort of sat there and I'm like, there's smoke everywhere. I'm just gonna hope there's nobody in front of me and hope that I can get through this without an incident. And obviously, I managed to do that.
Well, either way, that is going to be a very good result for you, but we'll see how things end up going, because it looks like Race Control is saying that that Garriott was across the line first. I'm not too sure what the deal is there. Either way, it's still a nice clean result for you, Zach, so we're hoping, obviously, that the rest of the mid-season goes well for you.
Thank you, Reese. I hope it does for myself as well.
All right, is there anyone else you'd like to thank for your result tonight?
I'd like to thank everybody who crashed and let me through. But no, I'd like to thank, you know, the guys at Drop Bear for, you know, giving me the opportunity to race for them as well. Show my skill sets sort of getting a lot better in different cars.
Well, that's Zach Mitchell there in the AM class here tonight. Goodness gracious, Nick, that was a very interesting night of racing here at Silverstone. Really sets things up for the rest of the season. The next round we go to Spa-Francorchamps. We're staying in Europe. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see what type of racing it is. I'm always such a fan of the sprint feature rounds there. Absolutely. A lot of incidents that probably wasn't going to guess there. We usually get those with some of the bigger open wheel classes as well. But yeah, these Porsches, like what we were talking before, you've really got to be so smooth with them, or you can pendulum out and around and into other cars and everything.
Well, you'll be able to catch the 9th round of the AOG Porsche Cup on the 24th of May at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern. Thanks very much, everyone, for joining us here tonight, and we certainly hope you'll be able to join us in 2 weeks' time. I'm Reese Gardner. It was Nick Scariev alongside me in the commentary box, and Jay Kennedy making everything happen behind the scenes on production. From all of us here at SimSpeed TV, we say bye for now, but certainly not forever. We'll see you at Spa.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's got everything else. Both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to him. Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?